What's going on, everybody? Ronnie DiMaggio here with BMW of Morristown, and in today's video we are going to be talking about a list of the top things that I think new and first-time BMW owners should know about BMW and about their cars. So I have been a product specialist with BMW of Morristown for almost 2 years now, and in 2 years worth of deliveries and new car orientations for new customers, these are the things that I have found customers thought were most helpful to know, things they were maybe the most surprised to know that they wouldn't have known otherwise coming from non-BMWs or even non-luxury car brands. So we're going to be going over that list of things in this video, the top things that new and first-time BMW owners should know about their car. So with that said, let's get started. All right, so for our first thing that first-time and new BMW owners should know about, we're going to be inside the car and we're going to be talking about the iDrive controller. So the iDrive controller is one of those things where I'd say in about half of all new car deliveries that I do for first-time BMW owners, about half of those new owners will point to the iDrive knob as soon as they get in the car and say, what is that thing? How does that work? What does that do? Just totally unfamiliar with an infotainment system that is controlled by a rotary knob and some auxiliary buttons. Now, those systems do exist in other cars, but BMW pioneered it in the early 2000s with the 7 Series of that era, and it's developed from there. But its foundational workings, the key sort of foundations to how the iDrive knob works, have remained the same really for the better part of 2 decades now, which is pretty cool, but the way it works is the same. So for those people that are coming out of maybe a lower end car, or just a car that was touchscreen based or had one of those keypads that other manufacturers are using, the iDrive knob might be unfamiliar. So let's talk about how it works. So the iDrive knob is a rotary dial located to the right of the gear shifter in left-hand drive US market cars. And it works pretty similar to how a joystick would work on like an old arcade machine or an Atari or something like that. So you can move it like a joystick, up, down, left, right. It doesn't quite rotate like that, but you can go up, down, left, and right, or you can spin it clockwise and counterclockwise to scroll through the menus on your iDrive screen. So you can do that, for example, if you're going through your Sirius XM stations, you just scroll clockwise to scroll down, counterclockwise to scroll up. So it works like that to navigate menus. You can go up to jump from the home screen to your shortcuts or something like that. You can push to the right to go like forwards. You can think of pushing left as back. Down will do a different thing based on where you're at in the menu. You also have some extra shortcut buttons. You have telephone, media, home, map, and navigation. You also have a back button, which does exactly what you'd think, and then option I like to describe as like a right click on a computer. It'll do a different thing, sort of bring up extra options depending on where you are in the menu. So that's the iDrive knob. It's a really simple thing. If you own a BMW, this is second nature to you, how to use this, but for a lot of new owners it's really confusing and they sort of can't quite understand what the point of it is. Well, that's the point. Now you know. The iDrive knob is an important thing to know about as far as navigating your infotainment screen. It's also something that is pretty unique to BMW, so a lot of or first-time BMW owners are not familiar with it. So that's the iDrive controller. Let's move on to number 2. All right, outside the car for the number 2 thing that new and first-time BMW owners should know about, we're going to be talking about the tires. So BMWs are known for their handling, their performance, their athleticism. A big part of that is the tires that they are equipped with, and because of that, many BMWs, even non-M cars, are sold with performance tires. Performance tires have to be treated with special care as opposed to all-season tires. So step 1 is to know whether or not you have performance tires. You can find this out by getting your VIN number and entering it into a VIN decoder online, calling your salesperson, or looking at your window sticker. You'll be able to find out if your car has performance tires or if it has all-season tires. Now, you might think, I don't have an M car, I don't have performance tires. That might not be true. Even cars that are just equipped with the M Sport package and have an upgraded wheel option can be equipped with performance tires. So, first step, find out whether or not you have performance or all-season tires. And then step 2 is to know how to treat your performance tires. If you have summer tires, it is not advisable to drive on them when it's below 45 degrees outside because the rubber can harden and they can become much less grippy and even get a little bit sketchy to drive on if it's really, really cold out. At 45 degrees, you'll be fine. If it's like single digits Fahrenheit, you're gonna have some trouble even if it's dry with performance tires. Also, you cannot drive in snow under any circumstances if you're on summer tires. It is extremely advised against very, very strongly. The performance tires are not meant to handle those conditions at all. So if you have performance tires on your car, you definitely need to switch to snow or winter tires, or even a good all-season for the colder months if you live in the Northeast like we do here in Morristown, New Jersey. If you have all seasons, that's great. You're good to go. You can obviously drive those in all seasons, but if you have performance tires, you get that added benefit of extra grip and sort of sportiness, athleticism. In the summer, you have the more performance-oriented tire when it's warm out, but you need to know when it's cold out, you definitely have to switch over to a snow or winter tire. This goes for the performance tires on M Sport equipped cars, like an X5 with the M package and the 21-inch or 22-inch wheels. You're probably going to get performance tires, so you should switch those out in the winter. This, of course, also goes for any M car is sold with performance tires. You must switch to winter tires, especially on the M performance tires. A Michelin Pilot Sport 4S or a Pirelli P0 is not serviceable in the snow. You should definitely switch to a snow or winter tire if you have any sort of performance or summer tire on your BMW. So that's number 2. Let's move on to number 3. All right, around back on the side for number 3, you could probably guess what we're going to be talking about in this location. It is the gas, or the gas that you should be putting in your BMW. If you're coming from a more regular car, you've probably gotten used to putting 87 octane gas or regular gas in your car. You're going to have to kick that habit for your BMW, because BMWs, on the gas cap here, there's a sticker that says minimum of 89 octane. That's at least 89 octane. Anything lower is not recommended to be used and is not good to be used in your car. So 89 is the minimum. I always tell people you might as well just go to 93. An extra 20-30 cents a gallon isn't going to kill you, and you might as well be giving your BMW the best gas that you can put in it. So let's talk a little bit about why it's required or recommended to use 89 minimum or recommended to use 93. So the octane rating is the gas's resistance to knock in the engine. So when you have a turbocharged or a high compression engine, like many BMW engines are, they're all turbocharged, you have higher cylinder pressures, and you need a gas that isn't going to ignite from the pressure alone. It's only going to ignite from the firing of the spark plug. If you have a low octane gas, it could ignite before it's supposed to, and that causes pre-detonation or spark knock. It's just not good for your engine over the long haul. Now, if you accidentally fill up with 87, it's not the end of the world. You don't have to go drain it out. Just drive gently on that tank and let it burn off, and then refill it with 93, the appropriate gas. It's fine. The computer in the car is smart enough to recognize, hey, this is not the gas that I want. I'm going to have to tone things down. So you'll lose fuel economy on bad gas. You'll lose performance, and over time you could cause damage to the engine if you're using gas below that minimum of 89. So you might as well just use 93. It's the highest octane you can get at regular gas stations. It has good resistance to knock for these high compression turbocharged engines. So that's my personal recommendation. BMW says you can use minimum 89, so if you want to trust the engineers over me, that's probably the right thing to do anyway. So you can go with 89 at minimum. I always just like to do, why not do 93? It's good for it. I'm sure the car likes it. So that is the gas. Make sure you're putting in the appropriate gas for your BMW. Let's move on to number 4. All right, for number 4, we are going to be inside the car, and we're going to be taking a look at the iDrive screen here, because we're going to talk about our tire pressure monitor. So all BMWs come equipped with a pretty advanced tire pressure monitoring system that you can access through your screen here. And this is iDrive 8.5. So for this one, you go through your menu, go to vehicle status, and then you can see all of your vehicle status items. You click on tire pressure, and here are your tire pressures as well as your tire temperatures. Older BMW models have less advanced tire pressure monitoring systems. They might not give you the temperature, they might not give you the exact PSI, but they still have TPMS. The reason we're talking about this is because it is to give new BMW owners fair warning that it's pretty likely your tire pressure monitors will go off at some point, even when you don't have a leak or a flat tire. So BMW's tire pressure monitoring system is really sensitive, which is a good thing, because if you have a flat or a low tire, you want to know. But it can also mean that when it gets cold, your tire pressure monitors will think that you have a flat or a leak or a low tire, when really the air just compressed a little bit because it's chilly out and you don't actually have any substantial issue with your tire. You can still add air, but you don't have an issue. So just pointing this out to give new owners fair warning. the BMW tire pressure monitoring system is sensitive, and you should know how to check your tire pressures if you need to, because it's likely that you'll get a tire pressure warning at one point or another in your ownership. You should know how to get to the screen and how to reset your tire pressures if you need to. So when it gets cold out, don't be alarmed if your tire pressures go off. It's just because it's cold, that air in the tire compresses, so there's less pressure and you might get a warning. Now, what do you do when that happens? You go to your tire pressure monitor here, check the pressures, make sure they're all close to the recommended PSI. So we have 35 front, 40 back as recommended. You can see that's exactly where we're at. Now, to reset the tire pressures in this car, you go to tire settings, and then you go to, you save your tire settings, and then you start driving to reset the tire pressure monitors or do your reset. Other cars might be a little different, but it's all pretty much the same. The only caveat is you have to drive to reset the tire pressure monitors. You cannot just sit still and have them reset. The car has to drive for a little bit of time in order to properly reset the tire pressure monitor. So those are your tire pressures. Just a warning, if you're a new owner, you're probably going to have that go off when it gets cold out. If you do, it's not a problem. And now you know, if it does happen, what to do when it does. So that's number 4. Let's move on to number 5. All right, this next and final thing that new and first-time BMW owners should know about doesn't necessarily have to do with something specific in the car. Instead, it's sort of a general thing that you should know, and that is what options your car came with. Now, if you ordered the car, if you specifically sat down with a client advisor and spec'd out the car yourself, you probably know what options it came with. But if you just bought it off the lot, I'm sure you breezed through the window sticker, made sure it had the things that you wanted, but you may not have gone and sat with the window sticker and looked exactly at what options it has and then what is entailed within those different options packages. There are plenty of times where I get into the car with new owners and show them what all comes with the parking assistance package, and they knew they ordered it because they wanted the cameras, but they didn't know that it came with the backup assistant and the, recorded path parking on some new cars. So know what options your car has is step 1. Step 2 is to go on BMW's website or use online resources like our YouTube channel or other things to find out what is included in those packages. If you have the parking assistance package, it's more than just a 3D camera. You have a bunch of stuff that comes with it. If you have Drive Assist Pro, you have the lane change assistant in addition to just the adaptive cruise and things like that. So it's important to know what packages your car has and then what those packages do and what they include. Additionally, it's important to get familiar with the window sticker because it'll tell you, do you have all-season or performance tires? Are your tires run flats or not? Do you have a mobility kit or not? Things like that. Did your car come with, locking wheel lugs? Things like that. So it's just good. A good way to get familiar with your car is combing through the window sticker, being detailed with it, and knowing exactly what options your car has. It's good to get familiar with your car in general, and a big part of that is what options, what packages, and what equipment the car has. So that is the last thing that you should know. We're going to finish up with a quick little bonus item, and then we'll hop outside and wrap up with our final thoughts. All right, another bonus tip for new and first-time BMW owners. This isn't something that you will be surprised by, but it's something that I always recommend. It's something that I do think a lot of new owners gloss over just because they're not as familiar with it as they should be. That is, you should always be configuring the car in the iDrive screen to your liking. BMWs are super customizable, and you should be taking advantage of that. So in order to do that, the big one that I tell people to configure is doors and windows. Again, this is iDrive 8.5. In other cars, it might be called doors and vehicle access or doors and locks or something like that. But go in here and just scroll through this list and make sure everything is to your liking. It's going to say, do you want the car to flash when you lock it? Do you want it to fold in the mirrors? Things like that. You just want to make sure that all of these settings are to your liking because you can change them if you don't like it. I always tell people that if there's something that you don't like about the locks and the doors and how things work, there's a good chance that you can actually adjust it and change it to your liking. That's the doors and locks. You can also do ambient lighting, driving settings, exterior lighting settings, things like that. So there's a ton to customize in these new and even older BMW models. They're still very customizable. So this isn't something that maybe you should know perhaps. It's something you should do. You should know that you can do it, and then you should go ahead and do it because you might as well tailor the car exactly to your own personal preferences. So there's your little bonus extra. Make sure you go into your menu here and configure your BMW to your liking. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully, if you're a new or first-time BMW owner, this was helpful. You might have learned something about your car. If you did, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you think we deserved it. If you have any questions about this video or any other video or anything else BMW related, leave that down in a comment below and we will get back to you. We're super responsive in the comments of our videos. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at BMW of Morristown. And of course, if you're in the market for a new BMW or a pre-owned BMW, give us a call, 973-455-0700, or stop by at 111 Ridgedale Ave here in Morristown, New Jersey. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.